All right, the next shift. Use the secret weapon, the pillar system. All right, I'm not a big fan of this is secret or that's secret, but if we're going to call something a secret weapon, it's going to be the pillar system. So if you think about the old way, or maybe the way you're currently running your business, all right, you're going to set big goals. All right, you're going to get excited. You're going to have this, especially at the beginning of the year, you're motivated, you're pumped, and for whatever reason, you're just going to add 20% to what you did last year or 40% to what you did last year. So you set big goals. You make commitments and plans on how to hit them. This year, I'm going to focus more on that, and I'm going to double down on this. Then you motivate yourself. When you need that motivation, you use videos and seminars and whatever works for you. And obviously, you monitor your results constantly. You're always looking at your sales, your new customers, what have you. And then when those sales maybe aren't where you want them to be, you make more calls and you send more emails and you put up more social media posts. You're consistently hunting for these great ideas, these amazing scripts that are going to take you to the next level. And if you just keep grinding, things might break your way. And if you just keep searching, you could find the idea or script that will blow up your business. But here's the thing. This way of doing things will have you working way more hours than needed because your answer to everything is going to be to do more. And the thing is, monitoring only outcomes like sales is going to have you changing directions constantly. Every time you have a bad week or a bad day of sales or you read about a new idea. And so despite what you may hear, setting goals is not the key to success. That's the funny part. It is not the key to success. Despite what you may hear, all right, from other people, the reality is successful and unsuccessful people have the same goals, right? Do successful people set goals? Yes. But so do unsuccessful ones. Think about a NASCAR race. Look, the driver that finishes first and the driver that finishes last both have fast cars and they both have the goal of winning. Okay? They both have the goal of winning. So it's not the goals that they set. See, what I'm describing for most people, how they operate, it's just hope and pray. And hope is a terrible strategy. Look, every December and January, I do these national sales meetings for these companies where I train their sales teams and, everybody's, fired up and this is their year and this is the, time, this is the finally the time they're going to make it happen and all this stuff. And so they tell me about their big goals, but when I ask them, well, how are you actually going to hit those goals? They give me words like, well, this year I'm going to focus more on getting in front of the right people, or I'm going to do more of this or that. And they're using all these words that just have no agreed upon definitions, right? Like, how do you know when you're when you're done focusing more on something, right? These are just loosely defined goals at best. And so what I explain to them is, look, I'm glad you're excited. I'm glad you have big goals and you want to focus more on getting in front of the right people, but we've got to reverse engineer that to the point where you know exactly what you have to do each week in a way that we can cross it off, see if it's done, so you are getting in front of the right people more. All right? So again, this hope and pray strategy, it's just not the way, and you know it. So let's talk about the new way. The new way focuses on the process, not the outcome. All right? The new way is to create a weekly strategy of predetermined, high leverage activities that can be measured. Let's define measured, meaning at some point during the week, you can cross them off. You know it's done. If you can't cross it off, if you don't know when it's done, it's not measurable. All right? So we create a weekly strategy of predetermined high leverage activities that can be measured and whose completion is 100% in your control. These are not goals. These are not hopes. These are things that you decide whether they get done or not. And we call these activities pillars. And the way the pillar system works is as follows. We're going to take every activity that you could do with your time, all right, which is there's no shortage of this. And we're going to run it through some criteria, and we're going to think about it. What can be measured? What's high leverage, right? What's in your control? And what's going to come out the other side is a set of these activities, a set of these pillars. And it should be a short enough list so they can literally fit on an index card. And the idea is, because these are in your control, every week when you execute on your pillars, despite that week, I don't care what that week's results were, what the sales were that week, okay, what these lag indicators were. You know, as long as you execute on those predetermined pillars every week, it's just a matter of time and pressure until you hit your goals. And this is what we call the Friday night feeling. Again, knowing that despite that week's results, good, bad, indifferent, you did what you needed to do and your business is moving in the right direction. All right, so let's talk about why the pillar system works. All right. First of all, it predetermines exactly what you should focus on each week. Because in the heat of the moment, in a state of being reactive, the most important things to do will always lose out to the urgent, which is why the pillar system doesn't leave it up to chance. It doesn't care what you think is the most important thing to do at a particular moment based on your current mood or the last email you read. Instead, it identifies these vital high leverage activities ahead of time so that when you execute on the strategy, the right things automatically get done. The second reason it works is that it automatically incorporates success principles into your business. See, although we may understand tried and true success principles such as the 80-20 rule, productivity over activity, working on your business, not just in your business, let's be honest, very few of these principles are consistently incorporated into our day-to-day activities and decisions. The next reason it works is because it measures progress accurately. Look, here's the reality. When you measure your progress based on outcomes, sales, new customers, these things that are lag indicators, right, that work on the compound effect, you're not being accurate about your business. So what'll happen is, look, you could do all the right things one week. You can do all the right things. And for whatever reason, the sales don't land, the new customer doesn't sign up, the person doesn't buy a subscription, whatever it is. Okay? And the problem is, if you're only looking at that, you may change directions when you don't need to. Just the compound effect hasn't taken over. And you can go in the other direction. You might have a week where you take a 3-day vacation. On day 4, you're at a conference. And day 5, you're just catching up on emails. And for whatever reason, some account you've been working on for a while lands, and you think you had a great week. What's your strategy going to be moving forward? Take 4 days off every week, right? So it measures progress accurately. And then finally, it aligns your goals with what you actually do. Sounds funny, but if you, as someone as a second party that talks to professional salespeople all the time, when you ask people what their goals are versus you watch what they do on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis, they're oftentimes not in alignment, and we want to make sure that happens. So let's talk about Andy. Andy's a great example of this because he was a super talented guy, had a lot of weapons in his arsenal, right? He hustled, he threw everything he had into his job. And when sales were good, he thought he finally figured it out, riding high. But when sales would even drop off for a little bit, a day, a week, he would start questioning what he was doing and start looking for another way, a better way, right? So after becoming less obsessed with these daily sales numbers and focusing on completing the pillars, that's where his focus was. He focused on completing the pillars that we identified. He actually shot up to number 1 in his company and was promoted into management shortly after. I mean, this text that he sent me, right? Pillar system was and still is a complete game changer for me. All right? Complete game changer. Not just looking at lag indicators at sales, but focusing on the right lead indicators, the right activities to do.